A replacement for the revolver has been added into Fortnite called the 6-shooter, so let's break this thing down and see if it deserves a place in your limited inventory. The 6-shooter comes in 3 variants, uncommon, rare, and epic, doing 34, 36, and 38 body shot damage respectively. Important things to notice about this weapon are its extremely small magazine size of a 6 and reload speed of about 2.3 seconds depending on the rarity. You'll notice that there's only one number for the fire rate for this weapon, even though the weapon features the ability to have 2 different fire rates depending on whether you aim down sights or whether you hip fire this weapon. The 5 bullets per second number as shown in game is the fire rate of the 6-shooter when firing from the hip. When aiming down sights, this weapon fires 2.5 times slower though at just 2 bullets per second. So how do the 2 different fire rates of this weapon compare to other weapons in Fortnite? Well, let's start by comparing the hip-firing 6-shooter to the normal SMG. We'll compare the body shot time to kill of these 2 weapons when facing 100 health opponents and 200 health opponents. The 6-shooter has a maximum potential body shot time to kill of 0.4 of a second versus a 100 health opponent, while the normal SMG has a potential time to kill of 42 hundredths of a second against a 100 health opponent. When versus 200 health opponents, the 6-shooter's time to kill is 1 second flat, while the normal SMG's is faster at 83 hundredths of a second. Now this is simply the best possible time to kills. What would happen if you missed just one single bullet with these 2 weapons? This is what their time to kills would look like if you missed a single bullet. Since the 6-shooter has a slower fire rate than the normal SMG, punishment for missing any number of bullets is much higher. And that's on top of the fact that the 6-shooter only has a magazine size of 6. As you can see from the 200 health time to kill, the 6-shooter drops all the way down to 3.2 seconds because if you miss a single bullet, you'll have to reload the entire weapon, causing an additional 2.2 seconds for the highest rarity. So you can see there how big and how important a higher magazine size is, because having to reload when you can't even do 200 health with missing a single bullet is a huge disadvantage. So the importance of hitting your shots with the 6-shooter is much greater than that of the normal SMG. But is it easier? Right here is a comparison between both of these weapons when hip firing and strafing. The 6-shooter starts out more accurate, but by the 3rd bullet is already less accurate. Now this is when hip firing both weapons, but remember that the normal SMG gets to keep its same fire rate, 12 bullets per second, when aiming down sights, whereas the 6-shooter would be 2.5 times slower. So here's a comparison between these 2 weapons when the 6-shooter is hip firing and the normal SMG is aiming down sights. By the 2nd bullet, the 6-shooter is already significantly less accurate than the normal SMG. So the 6-shooter fires slower than the SMG, resulting in a higher penalty for missing shots, and is also majoritarily more inaccurate. Combined with a magazine size that is 80% smaller with reload speeds exactly the same as the SMG, it doesn't look good for the 6-shooter. So for all intents and purposes, I would say that the 6-shooter is not worth using as an up-close hip-firing weapon when the normal SMG is a much better option. And just like the normal SMG, the 6-shooter has the same disadvantages when using it as a combo weapon with something like a shotgun. You'll be greatly punished for having such a small magazine size, making it difficult to shoot down builds, and not to mention that the draw speed of the 6-shooter is actually slower than that of the SMG. So hip firing is crossed off the list for the 6-shooter, but what about aiming down sights? How does this weapon compare to that of the handcannon? Even though the 6-shooter is significantly slower when aiming down sights, it is still 2.5 times faster than the handcannon. Right here is a comparison of time to kills with the handcannon and the 6-shooter. As you can tell, the 6-shooter is significantly faster than the handcannon, and missing a single bullet would only make things worse for the handcannon since its fire rate is slower than that of the 6-shooters. Now, although the handcannon is significantly slower, you do have to take into consideration the damage difference. 78 damage per shot at optimal range for the handcannon versus 38 for the 6-shooter is a huge difference. When using slow firing weapons against good players, you're typically only going to get one shot before they react and build. So the ability for the handcannon to do significantly more damage in that one shot is a huge advantage. Along with that, the hand cannon also gets first shot accuracy way faster than the 6-shooter. First shot accuracy is when you hold completely still, the lines around your reticle will come all the way to the center of your screen, and that one bolt will be 100% accurate. Going from sprinting to first shot accuracy ready will take twice as long with the 6-shooter compared to the hand cannon. One thing better about the 6-shooter, however, is its draw speed. I've mentioned in previous videos how abysmally slow the hand cannon's draw speed is, so having the 6-shooter have a good draw speed was a breath of fresh air. But that advantage of having a faster draw speed is wiped away if you want to use first shot accuracy, which is something you should definitely be taking advantage of most of the time with weapons with slower fire rates. Continuous first shot accuracy shots with the hand cannon also has no penalty. First shot accuracy comes back at the exact same time as the fire rate of the weapon, whereas with the 6-shooter you are slowing down the fire rate if you want to keep using first shot accuracy over and over. Now, while first shot accuracy is extremely important with these types of weapons, sometimes you don't have the luxury of holding completely still. For this, the 6-shooter does have a pretty big advantage. Its natural state is much more accurate compared to that of the hand cannon, so when going from sprinting to directly firing, you're going to be much more accurate with the 6-shooter. In this scenario, the draw speed advantage of the 6-shooter will become a big factor as well in it being more effective than the hand cannon. The final thing we should analyze when comparing these two weapons are their current damage drop-off numbers. So right here is the chart of both of these weapons. Remember that one plank is a piece of wood laid flat on the ground and is approximately 5 meters in length. Unfortunately, finding the purple 6-shooter in playgrounds is insanely difficult at the moment, so for these numbers I'm using the blue rarity 6-shooter. For the hand cannon I'm simply using the highest rarity, the legendary variant. As we can see from this chart, both of these weapons start damage drop off at the same distance, but the difference is that the hand cannon stops dropping off at about 60% of its maximum damage, whereas the 6-shooter eventually gets all the way down to 40% of its maximum damage. Meaning at longer ranges, the disparity between these two weapons' damage per shot becomes an even greater disadvantage for the 6-shooter. So with all of this information presented, is the 6-shooter worth using? In my personal opinion, there is no place in the game for this weapon in its current state. Is it unique and cool? Absolutely, but unfortunately its uniqueness has resulted in it simply being an average weapon in two separate categories. As an up-close and fast-firing weapon, it is outclassed by the SMG. As a slow-firing weapon, it is outclassed by the hand cannon, and the hand cannon isn't really that amazing either at the moment. If Epic wants this gun to actually be able to compete in its current state, then it needs a big magazine and reload speed upgrade. I would personally suggest buffing the magazine up to 12 and the reload speed up to about 1.6 seconds. Even those changes though would simply make this gun a little bit more consistent at being average. If I had the option, I would raise the aiming down sights damage of the 6-shooter all the way up to 50 damage for the lowest rarity. This would make the weapon genuinely interesting and something that people would actually want to use. If something major doesn't change with this weapon though, then I think it's just destined for a life of mediocrity. But that is just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think of this 6-shooter so far, whether you like it or you don't. If you would like to support me for no additional charge when spending V-Bucks, you can use my code FLAMMINATOR in the item shop. Every 2 weeks it resets and lets you choose a new creator. So if you were supporting me before and want to continue supporting me, make sure you re-enter my code. If you want to support a different creator besides me, feel free to do that as well. If you don't spend V-Bucks, don't worry about it. You being here and watching is more than enough. Shout out to my friend Cobra. I'll put a link to his channel in the description for helping me test all of the numbers in this video. It was a major pain trying to find the purple 6-shooter, and we ended up not even finding it, which, as I said, I had to use the blue one. We did like 4 or 5 sessions of playgrounds, so like 4 or 5 hours looking for this thing, and we just couldn't find it. It was insane how low the drop rate was on it. So thank you to him, and thank you to all of you who have made it to this point in the video. I truly do appreciate it. I hope that you found this information valuable, and I will catch you in my next video.